Hello, everybody. All right. Um, Let me first address, of course, the elephant in the room. You notice I don't have a co-host tonight. Originally, I was going to have R.J. Carter from Critical Blast on, but something came up and he was available for not available for tonight's show. And unfortunately, of course, it sometimes happens, was unable to, sometimes on short notice like that, was not able to get fill in. So then I'll be running this tonight unless we happen to get somebody show up on the fly. So, anyways, we're gonna of course give people a chance to come in before we get started. Of course, tonight is our weekly look back at comics history, looking, going back over comics history lane. Um, Tonight we'll be going back to, of course, June 1940, looking at comics that went on sale in June 1940. This case, be focusing in on Novelty Press this week. Going to be reading some Blue Bolt, reading some, of course, Blue Bolt, some Dick Cole, some Space Hawk, and some Bullseye Bill. Of course, as I said, we're going to give people a chance to come in before we get started. A friendly reminder to everybody, of course, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Oh, so that. Let's see. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. All right, let me just do this real quick. Give this. Alright, so I just tried one last ditch effort to try to see if I could find somebody to co-host. Let's just see if they respond. As I said, tonight we're going to be going over, for those of you who may have just popped in who don't know what's going on, my schedule, the person I was originally going to have as my co-host tonight, R.J. Carter from Critical Blast, unfortunately something of a family emergency came up and he's unable to be here tonight. So, unless I'm able to unless I end up finding somebody, I'll be doing the show on my own tonight. Of course, tonight we're going to be looking at comics that went on sale in June 1940 from Novelty Press. We're going to be looking at, reading through some Blue Bolt, Dick Cole. Hey, Bitchozo. Let's see. We'll be looking at some Blue Bolt, Dick Cole, Space Hawk, and also some Bullseye Bill. Let me just check one last time here, and I will probably get started in a moment here. Since I check one last thing here. Alrighty then. Oh, yeah. Thank you for responding. All right. So, anyways, I'll be doing the show on my own tonight. So, again, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing this, and see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Let me just pull up material here. All right, so first we're gonna be going over some stuff from, of course, Blue Bolt #3 and Target #7, Novelty Press, which both came out and went on sale in June of 1940. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Here we go. Blue Bolt. Oh, probably was a little premature there, I guess. We're outnumbered, men, but the odds are with the brave. Courage. You got Blue Bolt, 10 cents. August. Blue Bolt. Sub-Zero Man. Sergeant Spook. Super Horse. Phantom Sub. Dick Cole. Runaway Ransom. Win free prizes by reading Blue Bolt. Send today for the prize circular, which gives you the complete list of valuable prizes. You can win absolutely free by becoming a regular Blue Bolt and Target reader. Don't be left out. Join the hundreds of other regular readers who are getting free prizes. Interesting way of getting people to read your magazine, bribing them. Blue Bolt prize coupon. This coupon clipped from Blue Bolt will be redeemed according to the terms of the Blue Bolt prize list. Write for your prize list to Blue Bolt, 292 Madison Avenue, New York, New York. Don't be left out. Join the hundreds of... Okay. This offer is void in any state or municipality where the redemption of coupons is prohibited, taxed, or restricted. Buy Blue Bolt and Target every month and get free prizes. Interesting marketing strategy there. And of course, feel free to comment and or ask questions if anything here grabs your attention, of course, as always. All right, so let's get going here. Blue Bolt, The Human Lightning Streak by Joe Simon. The Green Sorceress, Empress of a hidden empire, fired with the ambition of dominating the world by cornering its radium supply, has been captured by the Blue Bolt. Dr. Bertov injects the sorceress with Vandrelin in an effort to isolate her evil personality, thus making her good qualities dominant. Look at that green beauty right there. Kind of reminds me of the kind of reminds me of the dancers from Star Trek. Kind of. Her pulse returns to normal. She will awaken any second now. If the serum is successful, we may yet have saved the world. And the soul of a very beautiful woman. A momentary flutter of the eyelids announces the green sorceress returned to consciousness. Look, her eyes. They have lost that evil burning glint they once possessed. It seems we've won, yet I wonder how long will it last? Is the transformation permanent, or will it prove only temporary? Good girl, that order has prevented bloodshed. Good girl, that order has prevented bloodshed and misery for all. Oh, actually, I should have came down here first and gone. All right. Count Gorth, it is I, your Empress. Disband the army and stop all production of munitions. I will issue final orders later. That is all. Good girl. That order has prevented bloodshed and misery for all. You've also destroyed the barrier between us. We can be good friends now. With world peace assured, Dr. Bertov resumes his laboratory work. Meanwhile, trouble brews in the key city of the Hidden Empire. But I can't believe it. She can't abandon our plans. Well, carry on despite our orders. Our nation's destiny must be fulfilled. Our power must rule the continents. Oh boy, that's usually what happens. There's usually somebody who doesn't want to fall in line with peace. Hmm. Led by rebel generals, the mighty army of the Green Empire is again on the march. The earth trembles under the heavy tread of armor-clad feet and grinding wheels. The invasion of the outer world has begun. The army batters Bertoth's stronghold. In his laboratory, a flashing signal warns Bertoth of trouble. Good heavens, the Green Army. They're attacking the laboratory. Streaking to the scene of the battle is the Blue Bolt, whose mighty strength is feared by the invaders. Bertoth's guards fight bravely, but are overcome by weight of numbers. Weight of numbers. That's an interesting way of putting that. Usually they just say outnumbered, but usually to quantify that by saying weight. That's a very interesting way of putting it, to say the least. Okay, let me see. Oh, I guess not. All right. Blue Bolt's iron-muscled body devastates the invading infantry, but he's suddenly seized from behind. The Blue Bolt throws his attacker into the faces of the others. You'll have to do better than that, you bloodthirsty demons. All right, we'll get an arrow here at least to help us So we must subdue that man. Strip the force gun for action. Strip the force gun for action. The huge force gun is trained on the Lightning Man's fighting figure, and the mighty Blue Bolt is finally felled by a blast that would have destroyed a company of men. Again, interesting grammatical structure here at this point in time. Stunned by the tremendous power of the force beam, Blue Bolt finds himself at the mercy of the Green Army's paralyzer guns. A late arrival to the scene is transformed. Green Sorceress, who, enraged at the sight, blasts a path to the Blue Bolt's side. How dare you disobey my orders? The sight of their own queen fighting against them leaves the green soldiers gaping with astonishment and awe. An infuriated captain orders his men to shoot her down. But the soldiers balk at the order. They still fear the power of her magic. Whipping out his paragon, the captain fires. The green sorceress is stricken by the paragon of her own general. With their shouts of triumph ringing through the corridor of the laboratory, the Green Army charges onward. Victory at last! Onward, men! The end is in sight for Bertov. Infantry swarms into the inner laboratory, only to find Bertov covering them with an atomic cannon. The first man who takes another step will be blown to bits. But unseen by Bertov, an officer worms his way to a hidden niche and picks off an unwary scientist with his paragon. Now, in this case, the word niche here, as opposed to how I normally use it, it's a little bit different. It just means kind of out of the way, or, well, I guess it does have a similar meaning, kind of out of the way or off the main path kind of thing. So, interesting use of the word niche there, though. So, you're all awake, are you? Well, my traitorous queen, your army has ways of dealing with those who desert our cause. As for you, Bertov, I brought you before this televisor to witness the destruction of your laboratory. Bertov strains at his bonds as he sees his years of hard work smashed beyond repair. A soldier carelessly overturns a vial filled with highly explosive chemicals, and the ensuing blast rocks the very foundation of the mountain stronghold. The powerful concussion serves to free Blue Bolt from his bonds. He rises unsteadily to his feet to see the room about him strewn with wreckage and bodies. A dazzling green glare suddenly blinds with its brilliance. It's the dreaded green aura. From the very center of the green aura steps the green sorceress. Her eyes ablaze with hatred and evil. Bertov's serum has worn off. Soldiers investigating the explosion are startled by the appearance of their queen. I am still in command. Do you hear? Seize this man. You boys should have brought reinforcement. With a cry on his lips, Blue Bolt charges the soldiers. The soldiers are scattered like ninepins as a mighty juggernaut of bone and muscle tears through their ranks. The green sorceress eludes Blue Bolt's grasping fingers as she disappears in a burst of green light. Meanwhile, weakened, Bertov radios for help. Soon after, an armored rocket car bristling with guns and men roars to his aid. They are met by the Blue Bolt, who whips them into instant action. My legions are many, but still he comes. I cannot destroy so magnificent a man. They outnumber us, men, but the odds are with the brave. Charge! The green sorceress suddenly turns toward her masked minions and waves her arms in a mystical gesture. The entire landscape is blotted out by a brilliant flash of light as the green sorceress and her legions vanish in the blinding glare. Back in her hidden kingdom, the green sorceress again plans world domination. Will the blue bolt stop her next attempt? Watch for the next. I should have probably read this first. There are other ways to capture your affections without fighting you. I will find them, Blue Bolt. All right. Watch for the next exciting issue. All right, so there we go with that one. Hopefully you all like that one. Of course, without a co-host, we don't, of course, have the chance to ask, overall impressions, all that. But to me, that seemed like a pretty good story. And of course, I'm sure that for many people, the idea of a pretty scantily clad, dressed green woman does have a certain appeal. I mean, we all remember the the Orion girls from or the women of Orion from that one Star Trek episode, right? I believe that's what the planet was called, Orion. Let's see. I'm coming up. So now get ready to hit up on our second story here. Dick Cole. Let's check on here real quick. All right, so let's go on to the next story here then. Dick Cole, Wonder Boy. Dick Cole, that wonderland of American youth, matches his skill against a pair of criminals intent on possessing the formula that Professor Blair used in developing Dick's super qualities. Goodbye, sir. See you soon. Goodbye, Dick. Oh, Dick. Hello and goodbye. Oh, Laura. Toot toot. Couldn't tell I was a girl right there. Sorry about that. Um, I'm sorry. I missed you at the house this morning. Me too. Oh, Dick. There goes the train. Wow, I'm off. Dick, stop. With a super burst of speed, Dick races after the train. Goodbye! That afternoon, Dick arrives at Professor Blair's home outside New York City, but no one answers his ring. That's strange. Dad expected me to. Hey, somebody's hurt in there. Somebody's groaning. Dad, what? Oh, Dick. Robbers. The formula that developed you, stolen. If it's publicized, it will be used for great evil. We must do something. Then we can't tell the police. That would get get it in the papers. Did you know the men, Dad? No, but one of them had no left ear. And what's this? Huh? Envelope from the Green Star steamship line. Say, say, I heard one of them say they just make the boat. Hello, Green Star Line? What time does the next boat sail? 1 hour? Right, thanks. Dick, wait. You can never make that boat in an hour. And besides, those I can try it, Dad. Sit tight. With with luck, I'll just make it. What the? You can't cross this bridge. You can't cross this. You can't cross this bridge, bud. Smash up. Smash. Take about an hour to clear that. An hour? Isn't that a fast freight into New York coming under the bridge? Hey, you can't do that. This ought to take up this ought to make up for some of that lost time. As the train rolls into the city, Dick leaps to the ground. Wow, quite a feat, huh? Quite a feat to do that. Oi, oi. Dick the super butler? No, Dick the Wonder Boy, Dick Cole. Dick Cole, the merry old soul, brave old soul, kicking booty with his tutti frutti. And if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. If you're anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with that being said, let's get back to this. Races to the street and hails a taxi. Pier 17 and fast. Right. No lights up here on an elevated highway. No lights up here on an elevated highway. Good. Now what's the matter? Dunno. Keep the change, I'm off. Hey bud, wait. Wow. Look! I may still make it. But not with that coat and hat on. Trying to get some toot toot. Heck. She's pulled out. Well, there's only one thing to do about that. With sure powerful strokes, Dick approaches the huge liner. Ah, there's a rope and just what I need. Now, to find my friend, Mr. One Ear. Hey, you! I saw you climb aboard. Follow me to the purser's office. Gladly, mister. Do you remember a man with one ear getting on the boat? He was with someone. Yes, they're in 226, but you'll have to be confined we until we drop the pilot. That's what you think, mister. Hey! Stop him! Heavens. Better duck in here. I'm in. But now, but how am I going to get out? This is a good trick if I do it. Wow. Made it. Oh, sorry. Where did you come from? Help! Just passing through, friend. So, there you are. There you are, me cookie. Excuse it, sailor. Now to find cabin 226. Who is it? Message from the purser. Come back later. I won't have time. Yow! M's in the gun. Sometimes when you try and do sound effects, other things can get knocked around a bit. Hold on a sec here. Let's see. I don't like guns, mister. Now you're next, One Ear. You! Ugh! Yeah, let's see if there's any comment, any note here. Oh. Again, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. All right. Ow! Now the next time you rats call on my dad, watch your manners. And thanks for the formula. Hey, there he is. Come on. Uh-oh. I've got to get off this tub. Nah, Miss Sailor. Nah! Slippery as an eel. I'll get him. I'll see you all later. Wow! So long. He'll break his neck. Thanks for the ride, Waters. Whew. That was quite a swim. 1 hour later. Okay, boss. Here he comes. Good grief, more trouble. You're Dick Cole, the Wonder Boy, ain't you, bub? Yes? Then come on. The commissioner wants to see you. A few minutes later, Dick gets a happy surprise at headquarters. Dad, gee, I thought I was in real trouble. Here are the papers. You little scamp. I was so worried. I came to my friend, the commissioner, about you. And you're due a vote of thanks from the office for locating Anson and One Ear. We've been after them for weeks. Just wired the boat to grab them. Another Dick Cole story in the next issue of Blue Bolt. All right, and that was a pretty good adventure, wasn't it? Quite an action-packed adventure. You little scamp. Alrighty then, so let's see now. Now that being said, we're done with the two stories from there. Let's see where we're at on time thus far. And again, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, anyways, alrighty then. So we'll get to the next set of stories here from target number 7. Actually, before we do that, though, of course, let me go. Oh yeah, we were at where we. I am going to need to step away from the computer for a moment, so I'll be right back. But I'll put some music on to entertain you guys while I'm gone. And I'll be right back. All right, I'm back now. So, anyways, get ready to move on to the next set of stories here. Let's see now. August Target Comics. 10 cents, 64 pages, all in full color. Target. With one light, by Basil Wolverton. With one lightning blow, Spacehawk crushed the planetoid monster. Volume 1, number 7. The one and only Spacehawk. Sensational, thrilling. White Streak, Bullseye Bill, Lucky Bird, and T-Man. Alright, so let's get into this then. Go to the All right. And we saw all this, of course, in the Blue Bolt book too. They had the same kind of promo going on here. The Space Hawk by Basil Wolvington. In this episode, the mysterious lone wolf of the void tangled with a tough enemy, but it takes a beautiful girl to finally unmask him. On a tiny planet in outer space, two strange beings have evolved a diabolical means of obtaining the rich cargoes of spacecraft. At last, our work is done, jerk. Equipped with rocket propellers, artificial gravity, and an amplified atmosphere, this planetoid will make an ideal trap for ships. Our scheme cannot fail, Zorg. Let us move our planetoid into the traffic lanes of the solar system and make our first sketch. In their control house, Zorg and Jark lose the power to set the planetoid. Very alien names, huh? Zorg and Larg. Jarg, rather. Larg and Jark. Very alien sounding names, don't you think? Mammoth rocket barrels built deep within the rock blast forth pillars of roaring flame. Thus propelled, the planetoid streaks within the bounds of the solar system. Applying the reverse rockets, we'll start here and await our prey. Several thousand miles away, a passenger liner speeds out toward the planet Pluto. The Neptunian pilot is puzzled by what he sees ahead. That's strange. There shouldn't be any planetoid so close to this lane. It's moving into our path, and we're going too fast to turn out for it. In the control room on the planetoid, Zorg bellows orders. Quick! Throw out the bumper beam, just enough to keep that ship from hitting too hard. The powerful repellent force grips the craft, and only its forepart is shattered as it runs squarely against the planetoid. The surviving passengers, mostly Centurions and Neptunians, excitedly rush from the ship. Now we shall witness a very thrilling sight. I shall loose the imprisoned snarls upon our visitors. Zorg yanks a lever, holes appear in the ground, and bloodthirsty snarls, imported from a planet in outer space, leap upon the screaming passengers. Well, let's see. What would you say these snarls seem like? Hmm. At least to me, they look maybe like part snail, part turtle, part ape, maybe. Part snail, part turtle, part ape. I see aspects of those three things of what these snarls are. Interesting thoughts there, thought process. Feel free to give your thoughts on what you think. Here, I'll even go back and leave them up for a moment. So the snarls, I believe, are the orange creatures with the green shells on their back. What do you guys think? Snails, turtles, apes, maybe a combination of the three? Any thoughts on the matter, everybody? While you're thinking about that, I'll put some music on. I do need to step away from the computer for a moment. I'll be right back. I'll put some music on while I'm gone. While I'm gone, of course, why don't you guys think about what I said? What do those creatures look like to you? Snails, apes, turtles? Think about it for a moment. All right, so let's see if there's any thoughts on. See if anybody has any thoughts on what these creatures might be. Whether you're from my Rumble channel or from the YouTube channel. All right. All right. Well, let's move on to the next page, and of course. That takes care of any resistance we might encounter while we loot the ship. Now to get those snarls back into their dens. Jark stays in the control house and operates the den closing mechanism, while Zorg, with a shock whip, goes out and forces the creatures back into their underground quarters. Oh, they seem to have beaks too. Some of those, so maybe there's some bird aspects to them too. Look like they got beaks right there. As Zorg is about to enter the wrecked ship, a girl staggers out of it. Upon seeing Zorg, she attempts to flee, but a powerful tentacle whips out and seizes her. That's gotta be eerie. An Earth girl, and quite comely too. Just the person to keep me from becoming too lonely on this barren little planet. Look at the horror in her face at that notion. She's essentially being kidnapped for the purposes of being this alien's consort. Look at how horrified she looks at that prospect. Whoa. Oh. An Earth girl, eh? Just leave her to me, Zorg. You can have whatever else you find in the ship. Get this through your thick skull right now, jerk. I'm the head of this planetoid, and I'll decide what you can have. I'll take care of the girl, and I don't need any help. Talk about the classic woman becoming between two men. Right? Yeah, I don't think she's too flattered at having these two particular individuals fighting over her. Again, any comments on that, ladies and gentlemen? All right, but so let's see what are these creatures called? These particular creatures aren't called. I don't think they really said what their particular species was. The only species that we've heard is snurls, but the snurls were the like kind of shell-backed creatures that we saw like a page ago. These particular creatures, they're just Zorg and Jark. But they don't tell us what kind of, like what planet or specific creature they are. Oh. Come now, I shall put you under the surgical ray. It will alter your appearance completely, and you will be truly beautiful according to my standards. You'll regret what you've done, you beast. If the interplanetary police don't get you, the Space Hawk will. Earthwoman, the intelligence and power of the Space Hawk are nothing compared to my abilities. The Space Hawk will never show his face on this planetoid unless I decide to lure him here to his doom. Again, look at the facial expressions there. This art, whoever was doing the art on this is pretty good because, I mean, look at just the facial expressions right there. But at that very moment, the Space Hawk, having spotted the strange planetoid, speeds forth to investigate. Jark, in the control house, is warned by the automatic ship detector's signal. Look like a private ship. Whoever it is I'll show them what it means to come snooping around here. The Space Hawk promptly lands as he steps from his ship. Two Herculean snarls charge him. Now, it shows up the two creatures down there at the bottom of that panel, the kind of green shell-backed, red-skinned creatures. I was thinking they look kind of like a combination of snails, turtles, apes, and birds. But those are snarls right there. He calmly seizes both of them and hurls them to their death. Snarls. What story is this again? This is Space Hawk from Target Comics Volume 1, Issue 7. Zola. Looking out upon the scene, Jark is amazed at the display of strength. Then he recognizes the masked figure. It's a Space Hawk! Here's where that meddler meets his Waterloo. He can't escape the atom rifle. This atom rifle, lifted by the controllable anti-gravity elements in his apparel, the Space Hawk approaches in long leaps, a la early Superman, right? Suddenly, he is struck full in the chest by a lethal bolt from Jark's rifle, and falls in a heap upon the rocky soil. I have done what hundreds of men had tried to do and failed. Put an end to the famous Space Hawk. The valorous hero of the skies is deader than a moon crater. I'll give him a fitting funeral by letting out two more snarls to pick his bones. Jark shrieks in alarm as he is gripped tightly by the. Oh, look at how tight! Oh, look at that! I would not be surprised if Space Hawk is giving him a hemorrhage or something like that with that grip. Speaking of bone picking, I have one I'm going to pick with you, my friend. You give a mighty rousing welcome to visitors. Now I'll return the hospitality. Don't! I thought you were dead! The Space Hawk whirls Jark around his head and flings him away with such force that he is crushed to a pulp against the steel wall of an oxygenator. Wow. Within his laboratory, where he is about to change the Earth Girl into an ugly creature, more to his liking, Zorg hears Jark's last blood-curdling screams. the human facial features here are just, they're just marvelous. Again, look at her face. Look at her expressions there. He rushes to a window and stiffens with surprise at sight of the Space Hawk. That fool jerk! If he'd turned on the bumper beam, that Space Hawk couldn't have landed. I'll soon settle with both of them. Sensing Zorg's whereabouts, the Space Hawk leaps directly through the window and into the laboratory. Looking for trouble, eh? Here's where you can find it. Zorg's atom pistol spits strength into the seared spot on the spits straight into the seared spot on the Space Hawk's chest. As though suddenly frozen stiff, the Space Hawk halts, then crashes to the floor. That's that now to discover what's behind that mask. Why, it's a mechanical man, a robot. Recovering from his amazement, Zorg hurries back to his terrestrial victim. I have news for you, my dear. I have just conquered your mysterious hero, the Space Hawk. He is nothing more than a robot, an intricate mechanical machine. Then you did not meet the Space Hawk. I have seen him, and I am sure he is human. At the sound behind him, Zorg whirls and finds himself confronted by another masked figure. The Earth Girl is right. You merely shot at one of my robots. Now you have me to contend with. Well, on flesh and blood, I'll tear you to pieces. Can someone list me all of the Space Age, Golden Age space adventures? I can't because I haven't seen all of them yet. But there are a number, and of course there are some classic pulp ones like Buck Rogers. But of course we got Space Hawk here. See, Power Nelson, I think, is another one. I guess in a way. I mean, you could even argue that maybe to a slightly lesser extent, even though his adventures were never in space. You could argue Starman could be considered a space adventure, but again, from DC. But anyways, here we continue on here. Putting all his great strength into his steely tentacles, Zork struggles furiously. He is sure he is about to overcome his opponent. Then suddenly, the Space Hawk seizes him by his neck and, with one swift, powerful motion, breaks Zorg's spinal column. Ouch. Ooh. That's nasty. From what I would understand, you snap a person's neck like that, you snap their spinal cord like that, they're instant. That's instant death right there. Now, see how incredibly gruesome some of these Golden Age comics were. Zorg shivers convulsively and slumps to the floor, dead. I'll have you out of here in a moment, miss. For one who has had such a narrow escape, you're surprisingly calm. Why should I be excited? I was sure you would come. I was sure you would come. Don't you remember me? Only a few weeks ago, you rescued me from Gornak, the Martian. I never forget a face. Why not take off your mask? Take off that mask and give me a chance to remember yours? Since I arrived in this solar system, I have allowed no one to unmask me or any of my robots until today. But now I am going to claim that kiss I didn't take when I saved you from the Martian pirates. Woohoo! Hot daddy! Oh, and there's something for the adults. Look at that passionate kiss. Why is it you didn't do that when you rescued me before? How do you know? But what you were rescued by? Huh. How do you know? But what you were? But wait, how do you know? But what you were rescued by one of my robots? There is the robot through which I attacked your captors. It functions by my telepathic commands, almost as my own limbs do. In fact, it is actually I in a mechanical form. Wow. It's getting up. It's following us. It's not damaged too much to obey simple commands. Come, I must get this planetoid out of the traffic lanes. By means of amplified gravitation within his ship, the Space Hawk quickly tows the planetoid back into outer space. Then he speeds to the Earth girl's intended destination, the planet Pluto. So basically, basically by extending a gravitational force field around the planetoid, I guess that's how he ended up towing it out of the spaceways, basically. Hmm. Will I meet you again soon? It's likely to be a long time. I've much work to do. Please don't get into any more trouble. If you do, and I happen to be too far away, you may not be so fortunate. Goodbye. I guess it's up to me to see that it isn't too long till we meet again. Oh boy. She's love struck and she's she's gonna put herself in danger to get that man. Don't we all wish we'd have women like that in our lives? We've seen the Spade Hawk, but just who is he? Be sure to meet him again next month in Target Comics. All right, so there we go with that one. That's a pretty fun story too, right there. That girl. I mean, I wouldn't mind she coming into my life. So many of us would like that, right? Then we got the White Streak. I said we're going to do Bullseye Bill as our second story out of this. Lucky Bird. The Chameleon. Not Marvel's. This is their own. Fantastic feature films. Here we go. Now, before I do get into this, I'm going to need to step away from the computer again for a moment, so I'll be right back. But I'll put some music on to guys entertained while I'm gone. And I'm back. So let's see if there's any comments on either YouTube or Rumble. Let's see if anything is here. All right. right. So, anyways, we're gonna get to the last story of the evening here. Bullseye Bill. A little bit of a western here. Got a space adventure, a western, a couple of more traditional type superhero stories. So, nice mix for tonight here. Let's get into this. Let's see. Bullseye Bill by B. Holmes and L. Kennerly. Kennerly. Bullseye Bill and Dee ride to town at the request of the sheriff. I don't trust him. Yeah. Hmm. I reckon most of your worries are over, Miss, with Carson in jail, Dee. I don't trust him, in jail or out. He he sure he sure didn't think he'd give me a lake by dynamiting my well. Nope. Now he can't sell his water no more. Suddenly they spur their horses to a gallop. Come on! Those were shots. Carson broke jail. We're getting up a posse. I'm with you. Bill sends Dee to the old prospector's shack for safety. Carson swore he'd kill you if he got a chance. You've got to hide. While the sheriff organizes the posse, Carson Carson packs. Carson packs. I'll head into the hills. They'll never get me there. And rides. Fill my canteen at the water hole, and I'll be set. He finds the water hole empty. What the? It's dry as a bone. Suddenly, he hears the sound of approaching horses. Someone's coming. Bill, the sheriff, and Harry lead the posse. Come on, boys. That's Carson's water hole. His tracks seem to go there. Hoping to throw off the pursuers, Carson drives his horse away. Get out of here. He hides in a cave near the water hole. I can hide till they're gone. Nothing left but mud. When Carson dynamited Dee's well, the water drained out of his hole into hers. Look, uh, look at them footprints, boss. Bullseye Bill and his two companions investigate the footprints. We'll let the boys follow the hoss tracks while we look into these footprints. I don't think Carson's far from here. But Carson fires from the cave. He's in that hole. I'm going after him. Uh-oh. Into the fire. The cave opens out ahead of Carson as he flees from his pursuers. They'll never get me again. Maybe I better go back and get help. Nope. Come with us, Happy. That fork he took don't seem to go too far. Carson takes cover behind a natural breastwork of rock. They can't shoot at me in here. This wall will protect me. Wait, I've got. Oh yeah. Look out, Bill. We can't shoot that the rock stop our bullets. Wait, I've got an idea. Meanwhile, Dee and Jake, the prospector, ride to join the hunt. Oh boy, probably not a wise thing to do. I'd know that hoss anywhere. It's Carson's. Wonder where he is. Whoa there. If we backtrail, we can find him. Yeah, Bullseye Bill sent you to the prospector's office so you wouldn't be in danger, girl. Dang. That lump 3 feet above your rear doesn't seem to work well, does it? Anyways. They backtrack to the waterhole. Jake, look. Those horses. The horses mean Bill and the sheriff are around here. They hear muffled shots from the entrance of the cave. Dee and Jake enter the cave to look for their friends. Those shots came from in here. Let's go help them. As Dee and Jake enter the cave, Bill explains his idea to the sheriff and Happy. If we shoot at the cave, if we shoot at the cave roof, the bullets will ricochet and force Carson out. Oh boy. Yeah, oh boy, he doesn't know what's going on though with his lady friend. Throw your guns out first and walk out slow and easy. Stop shooting, I give up. All right, Carson, march. They hear a scream from the other fork of the tunnel. That was a woman scream. It's Dee. How did she get here? Lordy, boss, this your cave's haunted. Come on, she's in trouble. You too, Carson. As they run in the direction of the screams, the cave broadens out until they come out into a huge cavern where they suddenly come upon a huge monster. Wow. Imagine finding that in a cave. Dee, what is it? What happened? I don't know. Now's my chance. Seizing his opportunity, Carson makes a break toward the light. And runs across the floor when suddenly, help! It's a giant lizard. Look out, you'll be killed. Oh, look at that giant hand about to snatch him. He's dead. Pretty sure of it. Shoot at his eyes. Shoot at his eyes. We gotta get it before it kills us all. As the bullets find their mark, the lizard dies in agony. Let's go. What are we waiting for? What do you call that thing? Let's get out of this terrible place. I don't know, but it sure did now, and so's Carson. There's daylight ahead. Something funny here. Shadows look like it ought to be late, yet my watch says it's only 3 o'clock. Yeah, that's right. It looks like a red sunset. I don't know where we are, but I've never seen anything like this. What lies ahead? Read the next issue of Target Comics. I don't know. What do you guys think? Considering what the monster kind of looked like maybe a dinosaur of some sort. Could they have maybe possibly transported through a time warp? Maybe. I guess you have to look ahead to Target Volume 1, Issue 8 to find out, huh? Alrighty then. There we go with that. So what time is it now? Hour 39. Let me see. What is that? Team in. And writers. Let's see. Let me see now. We see 139, so we still have some time left, I guess. I know some shorter stories we can probably hit upon. Got through the 4 main ones I was planning for tonight, so hour 40 here. I think we might try to do one more from this one. I think I'm going to go back to the Lucky Bird story here. That one I think is another like 6 to 8 pager. Should Should be a quick read as well. Lucky Bird, Flying Cadet. Fingerprints don't lie. Lucky Bird is a flying cadet at Randolph Field, Texas, our West Point of the air. He is near his graduation to the advanced training field at Kelly Field, Texas, and after that, his commission in the Air Corps Reserves. But troubles of all sorts seem to follow Lucky Bird. Now, before, of course, we get into the story, they like to give us some kind of a glossary of terms to look for here. Glossary of cadet slang. CO, commanding officer. Mr. Cadet. Sleeve, toed, target. Let's see. Cutting out, faltering. Dead stick, motorless. Crash landing, crack up. Ammo, ammunition. Some of these, of course, most of us have probably heard before. Some of us probably heard. Skeets, what's come over you? What's come over Luis? He used to be a right guy, but now. Let's see. Blamed if I know, Lucky. Blamed if I know, Lucky. Here he comes. Here he comes back, and blood is in his eyes. What's the idea? Filthy pig! Take these! What the? You asked for it, Luis. One more time you insult Louise Lulon. He does not forget, Lucky Bird. And you too, Skeets Miller. When did I ever insult that mister before, Skeets? Blamed if I know. That night, this is going too far. It's going too far. Using a handkerchief, he removes the knife from the wall. He calls on the CO, Major Adams. This knife was just thrown at me, sir. There may be fingerprints. We'll find out soon enough, Bird. An hour later, there are prints, all right, but they are not those of anyone connected with Randolph Field. I'm glad no cadet would do such a thing. Back in Lucky's quarters, somebody tried to kill me a while ago, Skeets. Threw a knife at me. A knife? Luis? No, it wasn't Luis. We checked the fingerprints and they don't belong to any cadet. That's good anyways. The next morning, machine gun target practice at the sleeve today. Boys, real ammo and everything. Hot stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have to go back a couple pages to find out. Sleeve met. Page. Toad target. Okay. The cadets take off, Skeet flying the tow ship. Cadet after cadet dives and fires on the target. At last, Lucky dives and fires. A miss a miss by gosh. Suddenly, a toy plane wavers. The tow plane wavers and Skeets heads back to the field. 10 minutes later, Skeets, what happened? You shot me in the leg, Lucky. An hour later, in the CO's office. But it was an accident, sir. Accident nothing, Bird. You are guilty of either criminal carelessness or attempted murder. I wonder how they made that leap in logic. That seems like a kind of a leap. I mean, I guess we'll find out soon at this next change here. Sir, I know it looks bad, and it is no accident. Will you examine my ship with me? I will, Bird, but I don't know what good it will do. After an examination of Bird's plane, what a dastardly trick! Who could have tampered with that machine gun in sight? That's what I want to find out, sir. And you can help me, sir. How, Bird? I guess he was able to convince the CO there that he wasn't intentional, or at least not on his part. Announced that the shooting of Cadet Miller was an accident and that we resumed target practice this afternoon. And a little later, the Major agrees. That should catch the scoundrel. Bird, I'll try it. That afternoon, men, we'll have to call the shooting of Cadet Miller an accident. Target practice will continue as usual. But I call for a volunteer to fly the tow plane. All the cadets step forward except one. And that cadet is Bird's enemy, Luis Luzon. Luzon, you will fly the tow ship. I feel sick, sir. Get in that ship and fly it. That's an order. 5 minutes later, Luzon, in the tow ship, looks over his shoulder and sees Bird diving on the target. In a panic, he dives, circles, and zigzags. Wow, maybe I think they found the culprit. then cuts loose the target and heads across country. With Lucky Bird in leisurely pursuit, he has only enough gas for 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, it's about time. There goes his motor cutting out. Louis' motor coughs, stops, and he makes a dead stick crash landing. Ooh, ouch. That's gonna hurt. Bird sits down near the wrecked plane. He's knocked out. Say, what happened to his face? It's all lopsided. Doesn't look like Louis. Holy smoke, so this is it. So that's it. "20 minutes later, Lucky sits down with quote-unquote Louis, a prisoner. My stars, Bird, who's this? Ramon Reynosa, alias Louis Luzon. His Luzon makeup got dented in the crash. That skunk movie actor we kicked off the field? Say, where's the real Louis Luzon? You're prisoner on my ranch, senor. Why did you do this? Bird, he made me lose my job with the movies. To get even, I fixed his guns and sights, so he shot his friend. I throw the knife at him. So that's why the prints on the so that's why the prints on the knife fooled us. House heat, sir. Miller, he'll be out in a week, which is more than I can say for Ramosa. Another exciting Lucky Bird story in the next Target Comics. Wow, so there we go with that one. So let's see where we're at on time now. Let's see. Hour 53, okay. So we got an extra story. So I was intending for 4, but we ended up doing 5. Of course, sometimes the benefits of not having a co-host is you sometimes get through the stories faster. But on the same token, it's nice to have a co-host to kind of divvy up the voice work and also to for commentary purposes. But anyways, so we're done with the reading of the stories tonight. So now, with that being said, we'll go ahead and move on to with today being Sunday, September the 14th, 2025. Let's take a look back at this day in niche history. So let me see here. So September 13th, 2010. And all right. So first I'm going to look back to yesterday. As on yesterday's date, 15 years ago, back in 2010. 15 years ago yesterday, on the go-home edition of Raw before that year's Night of Champions, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the U.S. Bank Arena in Cincinnati, Ohio. The main event saw Randy Orton defeat John Cena in a tables match, a match in which you have to win the match, you have to put your opponent to a table. Goldust defeated William Regal in a trading places match, which I have no idea what that means. In a handicap steel cage match, Chris Jericho defeated the Hart Dynasty of Tyson Kidd and David Hart Smith. A Falls Count Anywhere match, Sheamus defeated John Morrison. In a song and dance contest, R-Truth and Eve Torres defeated Ted DiBiase and Maurice. And I believe this was Ted DiBiase Jr., but at this point he was going just simply by Ted DiBiase. Not to be confused with his father, the $1 Million Man, of course. In a body slam match, Mark Henry defeated, in a pair of body slam matches, Edge defeated Evan Bourne, and then Mark Henry defeated Edge. In a submission match, Daniel Bryan defeated Alex Riley. Daniel Bryan and The Miz went to a no contest in a submission match, and that's how they opened up the show. So 15 years ago yesterday, to be held at Monday Night Raw from US Bank in Cincinnati, Ohio. It was, of course, a go-home Raw before the Night of Champions coming up on that date. So now, with that being said, of course, let's get ready to move on to the next piece in each history. And, of course, and I do know that Rex on Rex's channel earlier today, Devil Flyer Momentum, we did get into some of this earlier, as 40 years ago today, on this date, 40 years ago, in 1985, let me just check. Yeah, 2005. On this date, 40 years ago today, back in 1985, on this date in 1985, a number of shows would make their debuts, would make their premieres, including The Adventures of the Gummy Bears, debuting on NBC, which ran on NBC from 1985 to 89, moved to ABC in 1989. So from September of 1985 to May of 1989, it was on NBC. Then starting from September of 89 to May of 1990, it was on ABC, and then went into syndication in September of 90. Also, premiering on CBS, Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, Little Muppet Monsters, the Berenstain Bears, and the Wuzzles all debuted on CBS on this date, as well as It's Punky Brewster, and It's Punky Brewster debuted on NBC on this date, the cartoon version of the Punky Brewster show. And in syndication, Ruby Spears' Sectors and Deke Enterprises' The Care Bears both premiered. So, The Adventures of Gummy Bears, Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, Little Muppet Monsters, Berenstain Bears, The Wuzzles, It's Punky Brewster, Sectors, and The Care Bears all premiered on this date back in 1985, 40 years ago today. And finally, on this date, 20 years ago today, 2005, so I pull that up. On this date in 2005, 20 years ago today, the 560th issue of Archie from Archie Comics went on sale on this date back in 2005. Of course, this is the same Archie book that started all the way back in 1942. Volume 1, issue number 560, went on sale on this date back in 2005. Sold for $225, 32 pages. The stories included picking a perfect picnic place, no free lunch or dinner, little advice, and the whole truth, HOLE, as opposed to WHOLE. Alrighty then. So with that, I do thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Hope everybody had fun listening to me read the comics tonight. No co-host tonight, unfortunately. It would have been nice. Again, it would have been nice to have a co-host in order to have the commentary aspect of it. But but we got through an extra story that we normally wouldn't. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. Of course, we'll be back here tomorrow with more Niche News. Also, next Sunday, I'll be joined by the Metal as we'll be continuing our trip down Comics History Lane. We'll be, I don't know as of yet, I don't remember off the top of my head as of yet what we'll be reading next week, but it will be from June of 1940. We'll be finishing up our June 1940 coverage next month in October. So that much I do know. I still have a couple openings open for October the 12th and 19th. I think those are the last two. They'll have to double check, but so I might be asking one of you guys to see if you want to try to come on and do some co-hosting with me. See if I can build up my rotation a bit there. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. We'll see everybody back here tomorrow. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.